More on spreading your seed. When I interviewed Dr. Robert Glover, he said that sperm competition is what we have in our species, which means that men compete not by physical strength against other men, but by their sperm, so that the healthiest and strongest sperm will win. Because historically, many penises went into many vaginas, and nobody really cared who the father was. There's a tribe right now, I think the Aloe tribe, where they don't even know who the father is. The whole tribe takes care of the children. But historically, that was how it happened. Nobody cared who the father was. This whole thing of, I need to know this is my child, is a modern thing that started with the agricultural age. So many penises went into many vaginas, and the strongest sperm would win. That's how spreading your seed came. You had to have your penises in many vaginas to have a chance at your seed impregnating a woman. That's where that came from. But, and the whole tribe raised the children because your seed is just wasted if the child doesn't live. In the agricultural age, the ownership age, everything shifted. Men started owning property, cattle, women, and children. And women were property and children were property. And now we see that the father gives the daughter away at the wedding to her husband, who's the next owner of her. During women's liberation, all this changed, but during monogamy, everything changed. And so now, for a man to have a chance at passing on his genes and wanting to pass on his land, he needs an heir that survives. And so the parental investment strategy has become the better strategy for men and for children. What we don't think about in the pump and dump scheme is that these men are not even thinking about the children that they will produce. Every man who just goes around pumping and dumping is really neglecting the role that he has as a man, as a father, for the children he might produce. We have really divorced children from our sexual activity due to birth control, and I think that's very harmful. Not only from an evolutionary perspective, if you want your seed to pass on, you have to invest in those children, that they have emotional regulation, that they have a stable home, a loving home, a father who teaches them things and protects them and guides them and educates them, so they can be like strong little birds that can fly out of the nest when they're adults. And none of that is possible for guys who are going on pumping and dumping. They're contributing to a wounded society of fatherless children. And I would guess that these men who believe in pump and dump also didn't have fathers, that they were also abandoned by their fathers. Because any man with a heart is going to care about the children that he creates. And he's going to have at least somewhat of a feeling towards, when I have sex with this woman, she could get pregnant. See, before birth control came along, and birth control is an artificial means that has changed the way we behave. But if you want to get down to nature and like grunt when you're working out and dig your hands in the soil and smell fresh air and swim in the ocean, you have to think about how sexuality and reproduction are linked. And that makes women say, is this a man who would be a good I'm only going to fuck men who would be a good father. And that's what I always used when I was younger, before I got married. I would only fuck men that I thought would make good husbands and good fathers. What if I got pregnant? Would this guy be there for me? Would he be a good father? And men also, I think, have to think the same way. I'm only going to fuck women who would make good mothers for my children if she got pregnant. That's what men need to think. If this woman gets pregnant, would she make a good mother? Would she be there for that child? Would I want to be involved with her in raising that child? Because this is the age of monogamy. We're no longer in the tribal age of pump and dump. Every woman gets a lot of sperm in her. So I do not believe in the strategy. Now, do men have a greater need to release? Yes. So release into your hand. You have a hand, and you go get a woman. There was a great, Louise Perry has really been talking lately a lot about the childlessness and, declining fertility rate. And a lot of the problem, I think, comes down to women are not out-educated. Women are more educated than men. We have a hard time finding a man that we can have children with. And I think a lot of men are not measuring up to what women want. And then there are a lot of these women that feel entitled to be sexually loose. Married women having sex with other men. This is a whole separate topic. But in order for us to get back to our real roots as mammals and humans and as protectors of children, we forget about the children. Um, we have to lift men up so that more women who want children can have them, and more people can have sex. Like a lot of what I talk about on this channel is I am for more people having sex. What can men do to make women want them? What can women do to, you know, guys, I'm always interested in your comments on what you're looking for and so on. But I think a big problem we have now is that a lot of men are not measuring up to the woman who has lifted herself up. And a lot of men have kind of fallen behind. And I saw another great thing on Twitter today about the dress code. How men used to wear suits in class, and that's so attractive. And one man was saying, if you want women to dress better, you men have to take the lead. You have to dress better, and women will follow. So I hope for a time back to where we can bring back the idea of romance, courtship, proper dress, the idea of children can resulting from pregnancy, because we have so disembodied sex as to be like this transaction, like buying a coffee or something. We have taken away the mystery and the allure, and men going around like we can pump and dump into women. That's just like such a barbarian, um, kind of disenchanting, heartless way to approach each other, frankly. Yeah, but just to sum it up, pump and dump does not work for survival of the species in the monogamy age, because you're just going to leave behind a litter of broken children, and you don't care about that.